everyone, I am Chan Mao, a community evangelist at Aluxio. In the previous video, we saw how Aluxio fits into the architecture of model training platforms. In this video, Beinan and Tarek share the architecture and the setup of AI training tests with Aluxio.
Okay, so when we talk about an AI training test with Aluxio, can you talk a little bit about how the architecture works? Just talk about a little bit of the setup that we're going to be walking through.
Oh, yes. This will actually just, we call it reference architecture. I think it's a common demo to our users. It's something we can build up maybe just in 10 minutes or something. So here, we are using the most common tools we call the interactive notebook. We are using Jupyter actually here. So our customer can just use this one to trigger some machine learning pipeline, especially for the training. The training job, the container will running on our Kubernetes cluster. You can set up this kind of thing on the AWS shortly, I think. And the training container, it will use a local folder. Actually, it just looks like a local folder. It's not a real local folder, which means you don't really need to copy the data to a local. So actually, here we are using Aluxio fields. The Aluxio field will help you to load the data, or the training data on demand, which means on the machine learning engineer perspective, they just accessing the data on the local folder. But on the Aluxio perspective, they are the Aluxio will load the data from your under storage, from your S3 or something else, and speed up, because the Aluxio here will run it as a cache. It will speed up your I/O.
So this caching is adding some level of locality that really helps with this entire data loading process.
Yes. The internal implementation will be more complicated, but here it just looks like a local folder. We are copying the data, looks like the copy the data to a local, and the training job can just consume the data locally.
And it's important to understand, like, these are all tools that are readily available, and we didn't do anything special other than providing Aluxio as a caching layer.
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. We deliver this kind of thing just in one Kubernetes operator. So which means if you start operator, you can just set up all of this kind of training node, Aluxio node, and the local folders, and also a dashboard. And all of this are in one container.
Okay, we just wanted to let you know, because we're not running a demo. We're just going to show you the results of a test.
Yes.
So we're just letting you know that this test is readily replicable.
Yes, just because the training will take 1 hour or something, it really takes time. Yeah.
Okay, so kind of just quickly run through the test setup before we show you the rest. But Aluxio via Kubernetes, GPU server, AWS and EC2 on Kubernetes, deep learning program using ResNet, a very popular algorithm. Deep learning framework, we're going to use PyTorch. This data set that we're using is ImageNet, about 35,000 images. The data storage is on S3, as we mentioned. It's mounted on Fuse, as we just discussed. And it's going to be visualized on TensorBoard and executed through Jupyter Notebook. Today, we're really going to focus on Aluxio providing the caching layer and the TensorBoard providing the visualizations that we'll discuss right now. And so as part of these training steps, can you just talk about, we're loading this data into Aluxio, running the training job, reading the data set from Aluxio through PyTorch, data loader in each epoch, and visualizing the GPU utilization and other metrics. Can you just real quickly give us any background on this?
Oh, yes. As we mentioned, we are using a Kubernetes operator, so which means all the command you can use, you can just go through its operator. So after you start the training container, you start the Aluxio cluster, you can just load your data set, your training data set. Probably it's just a bucket or maybe a path on your HDFS. You can load your entire folder or maybe partial of it into the Aluxio. And after you finish the load, you can see all of your data just in a local folder. You may have some concern. Okay, my local disk is not large enough to contain the data. No worry about that. It's just a link. So we won't copy the data to a local disk. But you can access the data as a local folder. And on your machine learning job or your Jupyter Notebook, you can just specify a local folder to the data, and you can run the training job from there. And so your PyTorch you can use the data loader, will just load this kind of data, all the training data from the local folder. Also, we provide the local speed, even though it's not in the local, but we still provide the local speed, local disk speed. And after you finish your training job, you can visualize your GPU utilization on the dashboard.
All right.
Be sure to watch the full webinar at the link in the description below, where Beinan and Tarek share a visualization of dashboard results comparing training directly from storage and training with Alluxio. Thanks for watching.